Willow Lake shimmered. It did so every morning. The sun, a shy visitor at first, would peek over the distant hills. Then it would spill golden light onto the water's calm surface. Gentle ripples lapped at the shore, a soft, rhythmic sound. Old willow trees lined the banks, their branches like comforting arms, swaying gently. Ducks glided by, leaving faint trails in their wake. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of damp earth and wildflowers. It was a place where time seemed to slow down, a haven of quiet beauty, a place for remembering, a place for peace. Harold Bennett knew this path well. He was 82. His steps were slow, measured, but steady. Each day, just after the sun had climbed a little higher, he would walk to the lake. He carried a small, worn thermos filled with warm tea. Sometimes he brought a book, though he rarely read it. His gaze was often fixed on the water or on the old wooden bench that awaited him. He had made this journey for years. It was a ritual, a promise, a way to start his day, or perhaps a way to continue a conversation that had never truly ended. The bench was his destination. It was made of dark, weathered wood. Time had etched its story onto its surface. There were faint carvings, initials intertwined. H+A, now softened by years of rain and sun. The wood was smooth in places, worn down by countless moments of shared laughter, whispered secrets, and quiet companionship. It faced the water, offering a perfect view of the changing light. For Harold, this was not just a bench, it was a sanctuary. It was a bridge to a time he cherished, a time he held close to his heart. It held memories. He would sit, pouring a cup of tea. The steam would rise, mingling with the cool morning air. He didn't always think specific thoughts. Sometimes he just felt. He felt the sun on his face, he felt the breeze, and always he felt her presence. Anna, his Anna. She was in the gentle lapping of the waves. She was in the rustling of the willow leaves. She was in the quiet hum of the morning. The bench was their place. And, in a way, it still was. He would sip his tea and wait. He would remember. They had met right here, by this very lake. Harold was young then, full of nervous energy. Anna was a vision with a laughter in her eyes. He had been trying to skip stones, rather unsuccessfully. She had approached, offering a playful critique, then showing him how it was done, a perfect skip, then another. Her smile was like the sun breaking through clouds. That day they sat on this bench for hours talking about everything and nothing. It was the beginning of their forever, a simple moment that blossomed into a lifetime of shared glances and whispered dreams. Their life together was a tapestry woven with threads of joy and quiet contentment. They married under an old oak tree not far from the lake. Children came, their laughter echoing through their small, happy home. The bench remained their special place. They came here to celebrate small victories. They came here to find comfort in difficult times. They watched sunsets paint the sky in fiery hues, their hands intertwined. They saw seasons change, year after year, their love deepening like the roots of the ancient willows. The bench was a silent witness to their enduring bond, a constant in their ever-evolving world. Then illness arrived. An unwelcome guest. It crept in slowly, then cruelly tightened its grip on Anna. Harold cared for her with a devotion that knew no bounds. He held her hand just as he had on their first day at the bench. He read to her, he sang to her, he simply sat with her. The laughter faded from her eyes, replaced by a gentle weariness. When she finally slipped away, a part of Harold went with her. The world felt muted, the colours less bright. The bench by the lake became both a painful reminder and his only solace. After Anna passed, Harold's visits to the bench became even more sacred. It was a promise he had made to her and to himself. He would not let their memories fade. He would keep their special place alive. He would sit and talk to her, sharing the small details of his day just as he always had. He told her about the birds, about the changing seasons, about the ache in his heart that never truly left. The bench was more than wood and nails. It was a testament to a love that death could not diminish. It was where their story lived on. One spring morning, Harold noticed a young woman. She often sat on the grass near the water's edge, not too far from his bench. Her name, he would later learn, was Lily. She looked to be in her late 20s. Her shoulders were often slumped, her eyes carrying a sadness that Harold recognized. She would stare out at the lake for long periods, sometimes sketching in a notepad, sometimes just sitting, lost in her own world. She seemed to be carrying a heavy burden, a quiet sorrow that clung to her like the morning mist. Harold felt a gentle tug of empathy. Lily was going through a difficult time. She had recently lost her grandmother, her closest confidant. Her job was unfulfilling, her dreams felt distant, and a sense of loneliness had settled over her. The city felt loud, suffocating. Willow Lake, with its quiet beauty, was her escape. It was a place where she could breathe, a place where the noise in her head seemed to soften. She was drawn to the tranquility of the water, to the gentle rustle of the leaves. She hadn't expected to find anything more than a temporary respite from her troubles. Their first few interactions were brief. A polite nod, a quiet good morning. Harold, with his gentle demeanor, was not imposing. He simply existed in his peaceful routine. One day, Lily had forgotten her pen. Harold, noticing her searching her bag with a frustrated sigh, offered her one of his. It was a small gesture, but it opened a door. He began to share little things, a comment about the ducks, a memory sparked by the sunlight on the water. He spoke of Anna, not in a way that demanded sympathy, but with a quiet love that was palpable. Slowly, Lily found herself looking forward to these brief exchanges. Harold's stories of Anna, of their life, of their love, were like a balm to her own aching heart. He didn't offer advice, he didn't pry, he simply shared his memories. His voice was calm, his words simple, yet they carried a profound wisdom. Listening to him speak of enduring love, of navigating loss, Lily began to feel a flicker of hope. His stories became an anchor in her turbulent thoughts. She wasn't alone in her grief or in her search for meaning. The idea came to Lily one afternoon. She had been recording the sounds of the lake for a personal project. As Harold spoke, his voice weaving tales of laughter and tears, she realized something. These stories were too precious to be kept only for her. "Harold," she said hesitantly, "your stories, they help me so much. I think they could help other people too." She suggested a podcast, The Bench by the Lake, she called it. Harold was surprised, a little shy. Who would want to listen to an old man's rambling? He chuckled, but Lily persisted, her belief unwavering. And so, with a simple recorder, their journey began. The podcast was an unexpected success. It started small, with a few local listeners. Then, word began to spread. People from all over the world tuned in to hear Harold's gentle voice, his timeless tales of love, loss, and the simple beauty of life. Listeners wrote in, sharing their own stories. A woman from Japan said Harold's memories of Anna reminded her of her late husband, bringing her comfort. A young man from Brazil, struggling with loneliness, found a sense of connection. A nurse from Canada listened during her breaks, finding peace in Harold's calm wisdom. The Bench by Willow Lake became a beacon. One autumn, as the leaves turned brilliant shades of red and gold, Harold's time came. He passed away peacefully in his sleep at the age of 83. His heart, so full of love for Anna, was finally at rest. Lily was heartbroken. The bench felt empty. For the podcast, she recorded a tribute episode. Her voice, thick with emotion, recounted Harold's final days, his enduring spirit. She shared a message he had left for the listeners: love well, be kind, and always find your bench. It was the most listened to episode, a collective outpouring of love and gratitude. Harold was gone, but his voice lived on. Lily continued the podcast. She shared archived recordings of Harold. She invited listeners to share their stories, their own bench moments. The bench by Willow Lake became a quiet place of pilgrimage for some. They would leave flowers or small notes. They would sit just as Harold had and find a measure of peace. His legacy was not in grand monuments, but in the countless hearts he had touched. His stories, born from a deep love and shared from a simple wooden bench, continue to ripple outwards, a comforting echo in a noisy world. The bench still waits, a place of solace, a place of connection.